Okay, there we go. Another short talk in the park with an old guy. Now you can't see it, but you can guess at it. The Mr. Sunshine over there is about ready to pop over the mountain. I might get you a look at that later. I do like the outline of the hill. I thought on my way into work today, I'm not going to read the whole book of Zephaniah. You go read the book. I just wanted to read 4 or 5, maybe 3 excerpts, I think they're called. So I've got my Bible book right here. I'm a New American guy. I call it the New Armenian Standard. I'm a New American guy, and frankly, I'm not all sold out about it. I mean, it's an okay English translation. It's like some people get kind of, shall we say, a little proprietary about my particular favorite. You know, there's a lot of good translations, and you can get different insights from different translators. What does this word mean when you translate it, jerk it clean out of its ancient context, and try to make it understandable to an old gringo, 3,000 plus years later or whatever? Well, there's varying success levels, and then there's various comprehension levels. So all this feuding and, rock throwing and sniffing about which is the translation. I've read the Roman Catholic version of the Bible. Now the Mormon version may be okay, but I won't pick up a JW so-called Bible. It's just you guys can have that. So anyhow, I think this is true. What do you think? I think it's true that our world's getting pretty whacked, and this has been kind of a theme, hasn't it, along one of these things? And oh my gosh, it may be near the end of the world. Well, a lot of our ancestors thought the same thing. I remember, this was probably in the 70s now. I was a young man, probably 18 or 19 years old. I know I was stationed in Georgia in the military, and I was in the Air Force. I just did 4, and I was done. I said, well, I've seen enough of that. But anyway, there was an older lady, and she was in a hospital, and I can't remember. I was visiting her. I was part of some kind of church group, even by then, a bunch of Baptists at that time, and good Baptist folks down in Warner Robins. That was a long time ago. Anyhow, she was telling me, it was kind of interesting, at least I thought it was. There I was, a kid. And there's a name, Sopwith Camel. It's an old biplane design, and I don't know what these things were made out of, but it was early technology. World War I tech, by definition. If it was released in 1918 to be used, well, then at least 1916 maybe was the date when it finished up. I don't know, for its design purposes. So I mean, this is old tech. And so what she was telling me was that this was definitely a sign that the end of the age was upon us, and she was citing some verse, which I don't exactly recall now, out of Revelation, and I believed at the time she was misusing that verse, but I didn't correct her. She was almost 80. And she wasn't doing anybody any harm. She was laying in a hospital bed. So anyway, she believed that the World War I generation also had, vital data, kind of like, hey, I don't need a Bible anymore where I can read prophecy fulfilled in the newspaper. Have you ever heard that? That's kind of old hat. Hardly anybody uses that anymore. But so this has been a common idea. So it may not be that unusual as a Christian thing, but at any rate, you're being bombarded by words, images, media, videos by old weirdos. Too many words, too many sounds, too much stuff is happening. Your data compression, you're overwhelming your buffers. You cannot take it all in, no way. And so there's an explosion of data, words, numbers. Oh my gosh, I can't even begin to imagine. At one point, this wasn't that long ago, 250 years ago, there was about 200 books total in the world that an educated man should have read or been at least familiar with. About 200 books. And you could probably push it up to 1,000 if you wanted to get really learned. But right now, there's probably 100 books published a day. I don't know how many books. In fact, I don't know if people even publishing books. But I'm glad this one was published. So what I did is I went through before we started this vid, and I said to myself, just find the parts that capture the imagination. I say this Zephaniah, especially, but this book is a book for today. It's the one that's got its feet on the ground and it's dealing with the real situation. No propaganda, no, as O'Reilly says, no spin. This just lays it out for you, what's going on. So even if the big battle, hey, look here, Mr. Sunshine's coming up, just popped up. Boy, now I'm blind. Ugh. Anyway, I hope I can read. And so anyway, you got all kinds of pressures on you. You got your kids, your taxes, how you're going to pay your bills, everything. Push, shove. First of all, get away, quiet place. That's why we're in a park. Get near some green stuff. I'm not too far, 43 feet. And be quiet on the inside. But then when you start refilling noise, data, bits, start putting in some of these bits instead of that junk bit stuff that's been driving you nuts anyway. In other words, slow down. As the world begins to turn into a full tilt crazy sprint, stand still and listen. You got to go with the other side. In other words, you don't want to be a fanatic for progress, because the funny thing about fanatics for progress is that they're always out of date. I'm just going to read you, and I'll tell you, and you can look it up in your Bible, I don't care, but no, I'm not going to print the words on the screen because I don't know how to do that. Anyway, and the shadow's already weird, so I'm hoping I can read this rascal without stumble bumming. So I'm going to be in Zephaniah, we'll start 2 through 7, skip, 14 through 18, that was the same chapter, last section, chapter 3, 8 through 15. So I warned you in the header, this thing's about the Bible and stuff. So if you've hung in here this far, don't give up yet. This won't take long. It's just kind of like pulling a splinter, that's all. Nah, it ain't that. It's wonderful. It's refreshing, man. Here's what's really going on in our world today. Ready? This is the voice of God speaking through the man Zephaniah. Boy, I'd like to meet that Zephaniah guy someday. It says, I will completely remove all things from the face of earth, declares Yahweh. I will remove man and beast. I will remove the birds of the sky and the fish of the sea and the ruins along with the wicked. And there's various translations on that word ruins. It also is stumbling blocks. I will remove the stumbling blocks from the face of the earth, declares Yah. I will remove man and beast. I will remove the birds of the sky, the fish of the sea, and the ruins along with the wicked. There's the ruins. And I will cut off man from the face of the earth. It says here, the face of the ground, declares Yahweh. So I will stretch out my hand against Judah and against all the inhabitants of Jerusalem. Now, this is not an anti-Jewish book because it's in the Jewish canon. And I will cut off the remnant of Baal from this place, and the names of the idolatrous priests, along with the priests and those who bow down on the housetops to the host of heaven, and those who bow down and swear to Yahweh, and yet also swear by, there's this word, shouldn't even pronounce it, Milcom, probably one of the names of their local devils there. And those who have turned back from following Yah, and those who have not sought the Lord, nor inquired of him. Be silent before the Lord Yahweh, for the day of the Yahweh is near, for Yahweh has prepared a sacrifice. He has consecrated his guests. Consecrated his guests. And by the way, I say, when it says caps, I'm not going to cheap out. The name is Yah. Just say it. Make any hurt you. Look here, I haven't fell over dead yet. Continuing, Near is the day, the great day of Yahweh. Near, coming very quickly. Listen, the day of Yahweh. In it the warrior cries out bitterly. A day of wrath is that day. A day of trouble, distress, destruction, desolation, darkness and gloom. A day of clouds and thick darkness. A day of trumpet and battle cry against the fortified cities and the high corner towers. And I will bring distress on men. I will bring distress. Now this is coming from the great high holy king, so you might want to pay attention. So that they will walk like the blind. It's interesting. Because they have sinned against Yahweh, and their blood will be poured out like dust. We did that one last night. And their flesh like dung. If you're a plumber, I just call that stuff shit. Their flesh will be poured out like, their blood poured out like dust, and their flesh like dung. Neither their silver nor their gold will be able to deliver them on the day of Yahweh's wrath. All earth will be devoured in the fire of his jealousy, for he will make a complete end. I underline complete. Indeed, a terrifying one of all the inhabitants of earth. And I don't think he means they're all going to die of old age. No, he's talking about stepping in personal like. But it ain't all bad, and I said this ain't Jewish either. You listen to this last section here. This is out of chapter 3, 8 through 15. Just hear what the great king communicates in this hour. Therefore wait for me, declares Yahweh, for the day when I rise up to the prey. Indeed, my decision is to gather nations, to assemble kingdoms, and to pour out on them my indignation. He intends to do that. All my burning anger, for the earth will be devoured by the fire of my zeal. For then I will give to the people's purified lips, that all of them may call on the name of Yah, to serve him shoulder to shoulder, from beyond the rivers of Ethiopia all the way down to Las Cruces, New Mexico. Actually, doesn't say that part about Las Cruces. My worshipers, my dispersed ones, will bring my offerings. In that day you will feel no shame, because all of your deeds by which you have rebelled against me, for then I will remove them from your midst, your proud, exulting ones, and you will never again be haughty on my holy mountain. But I will leave among you a humble, a lowly people. They will take refuge in the name Yah. Or in our case, we would say Yahshua. We take refuge in the name of the Lord Jesus, Yahshua. I am salvation. That's the guy's name. The remnant of Israel will do no wrong and tell no lies, nor will a deceitful tongue be found in their mouths, for they shall feed and lie down with no one to make them tremble. Shout for joy, O daughter of Zion. Shout in triumph, O Israel. Rejoice and exult with all your heart, O daughter of Jerusalem. Yahweh has taken away his judgments against you. He has cleared your enemies. The King of Israel, Yahweh, is in your midst. You will fear disaster no more. For in that day it will be said to Jerusalem, do not be afraid, O Zion. Do not let your hands fall limp. In other words, these are just some words I wanted to drop in here today. You know, out preaching to the birds this morning, I guess. Funny, I don't even hear any birds today. Usually hear the rascals. There's one right in the corner. Just before the sun comes up is when they start making all their hey, let's get up and find some breakfast noise. You know, whatever birds are talking about, I'm sure it's important. But anyway, I got to get to work. It is work day. Pick them up and put them down. One of the reasons I decided to sit down today, boy, that lower back of mine, 64, what? I injured myself a couple of years ago, and I've just been surprised how long it's taken to work the bugs out of this thing and get those muscles quit pushing back so hard and stiff in the morning. And suddenly, it's funny, it's like somebody turns on the faucet, click, all of a sudden, an hour from now, I'll be walking around fine. But right now, I'm Dr. Gimpy, and it's just slow and everything hurts. It's like, I think I'm going to do this one. Sitting down, I have received insight. You receive insight too. And you know where you're going to get it from? As the word is applied to your heart, let the word of Christ dwell richly within your heart. He says of his own word, it lasts forever. Everything is going to pass away. Everything bye-bye, except his word, except his people he has redeemed. Everything else down here, look around you, future toast. But he's making it all new, and he's starting with people like me and you. Have a good day.